Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Tuesday training webinar for ASEA Connect 2.0. There I am on the camera. I'm excited to have a lot of people here. This is a nice big room with a lot of fresh faces that I'm not used to seeing here. So I'm going to go ahead and kick this off. We're going to probably take up an entire hour as we go over some of the topics that we're going to talk about for the ASEA Connect 2.0. So let's go ahead and get things started here. So I'm going to go through this PowerPoint presentation real fast and show you guys a couple things about what we're going to be going through here today. My next slide here is going to talk about our training schedule, which we host twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. With Webvention and some things that came up last week, we weren't able to do Thursday's training for the last couple weeks, but we plan on getting that done here this week. So if anybody is unable to attend our morning session here on Tuesday, I'm going to be available for Thursday at 5 p.m. It is a kind of a sweet spot for a lot of people to get home from work and to be able to sit down and kind of jump into the app and understand how to use it and work it, and a lot of questions get asked or answered during those sessions. So we dedicate an hour to these sessions. Normally how they're going to go is we're going to spend about 40 minutes going through a demo of the app with some of the features and topics that I think are going to be the more important areas of the app that you're going to spend your time and energy on. And then if you guys have any questions, go ahead and feel free to use the chat on Zoom or the Q&A section on Zoom, and I'll get to all of those before I branch off into a new section on the app. So this is our training schedule. There's our Zoom link. So we'd love to have you. Normally we have people attend maybe 2, 3 of these sessions, and then they graduate on and they feel like they understand the app. But I recommend coming back when we release new features and new things with this app, because what I'm showing you here today is really just scratching the surface of what ASEA's plans are for this app, and I'm really excited to eventually talk more about it. But once we get closer to that bridge, we will cross it and we will train you about it and show you how to use it. So this app is going to be huge. And here we have our recorded trainings where we host all of our recorded trainings. If you find that you want to not join us live on the calls but would rather join us on our recorded trainings, we have a web page built here, ASEAConnect.me. And it will take you to our home page, which looks like this here as soon as it gets finished loading. This is the area where you're going to find a lot of our latest news and announcements with the app. It's a little bit slow and sluggish. We got to move it to a different server, and once we get to that, then we'll take care of that. But this training button here at the top, this is where you're going to be able to find all of our recorded trainings that we host here for ASEA Connect. And so make sure you take some time and watch that. I'm going to talk to who built this site here to make sure that ding goes away, because it's driving me bonkers every time I access a new page, and so we'll get that adjusted. But we have a little chat bot here that you can ask it questions. We've trained it pretty well, so if you have any basic questions, feel free to use that chat bot and go through some of our different areas. When you hit the FAQ button there, it pulls up our FAQ page where you can access that and see some of the 5 pages of questions that we've already built you for this app. So definitely pay attention to some of that. And as always, if you guys need any questions answered that this chatbot robot is unable to answer, I'm always here, and I'll show you my email here at the last slide. So inside the app, we also have this nice in-app training section where we go through little quick 3 to 5 minute videos. Some are obviously a little bit longer than that, but these videos are going to be a good way for you to access our training in the app. So if there's just something quick you need to understand about how to share via SMS and you don't want to find our recorded trainings on the website, go to that in-app training and quickly learn how to send a text message. That's going to be a good resource for you. So our schedule, what we're going to be running through here today, is going to be largely mobile app training, and the reason we're doing that here is the big announcement, the big release for a lot of ASEA's global market right now is this mobile app release. And so we want to make sure everybody has enough mobile app training and make sure they understand how to use it. And then we'll move on to some more deeper desktop training, because this app, this prospecting sharing app that I'm going to be talking about here today, it does have a desktop counterpart that complements the app that will allow you to send mass emails and a few other fancy things there that the desktop app allows you to do. And we'll have a separate training probably on Thursday to go over a little bit more about the desktop app. If you guys are having troubles with that, that's going to be a good training for you to attend on Thursday. So this last slide I'd like to show, a lot of people have been taking advantage of this calendly.com/ASEA Connect support. And what that is, if you guys need extra help that these training calls are unable to answer your questions for, definitely take some time and schedule yourself a session with me by going to this URL here. And I'm going to paste it here in the chat so that you guys can all have access to it here. And what this is going to allow you to do is schedule a quick 30-minute time slot for me to be able to sit with you and ask or answer all of your questions about the app. If there's something you're just not getting or do not quite understand, that's a good resource for you to jump on, get yourself scheduled with me so that we can answer your questions, so you can leave these trainings feeling confident and understand how to use the app. Because the more knowledge you have, the better you're able to help other associates and your downline and anybody who needs any help with the app. Really want to empower everyone to make sure that they know how to use it, because it's a really nice app. We spent a lot of time and energy building it, and we hope you guys like it and enjoy it. So that's really my last slide that I want to go through here today. This next spot, we're going to go through a little bit of the demo of the app, and I'm going to show you a couple things here that we're going to want to get started on. Make sure everything's all in order here. All right. Let's pull things into frame here. Got to get my iPad up and rolling here as well. All right. All right, here it comes. Needed its morning coffee this morning, I guess. All right, so here we have a couple different platforms here side by side, and this is really helpful because our market is very mixed. I mean, we have most people are using iOS devices such as iPad or iPhones, but we still have about 45% of our users using Android. And so we have an Android here on my left and an iPad here on my right, which is going to be a good resource for you to access that. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you a couple things, and we're going to talk through about how we can, let me move a few things out of my way because I have a nice agenda here that I'd like to kind of cover over here with you guys. First things first, if you guys need help finding this app, if you cannot track it down, I know there were some issues with the app right after release not being available in the store, but you should be able to go to the App Store and search for ASEA Connect, just like this. You don't even need the 2.0 up there. You're going to look for this face with the big red lipstick, and you're going to be able to install it and access it right from here. So let's go ahead and hit open on this, and this next area is going to allow me to log in. Now, to log into this app, you are going to need to use your primary associate ID, your primary username. Rule of thumb is the same login that you would use for your virtual office is the same login that you're going to use for this app. So this is the virtual office here, so try to use the same login. That's going to get you into the app. The app will also allow you to use your associate ID, your primary email address, if you would like. So we're going to go ahead and use one of my test accounts here. Okay. And we're going to get logged in here. Now, you may notice a couple nice new things if you haven't looked at the app in about a week or so, but you can see that we've already updated quite a few things here in the app. You can see here on the initial Share ASEA section, we have 4 new videos that we added here. These were videos that were released and announced during our webvention. To make sure you guys have the latest videos, I want to make sure to mention that there is a pull down to refresh option here. So as I pull down here on my Android device, you can see that that little wheel starts spinning up at the top. When I let that go, like a spring, it's going to refresh all of the content in the app, and it's going to show me all of the latest videos, all of the latest content right there in the app. Same process on the iPad. If I do a pull down here, you see the words pull to refresh. And when I pull to refresh, it's doing just that. It's going to refresh all of my content to make sure that I have the latest PDFs, videos, and so on. So moving along here, I want to show you a couple of these really cool sections here that we have spent some time working through. So in the product resource section, we added some new documents here for the Renew 28 rebrand here. So this is a brand new document that you maybe want to take a look at to see if there's any areas in here that you want to look at. You can open up these assets, these PDFs, by clicking on them or tapping on them and clicking on this little eyeball here at the bottom right of the image. And when you do that, it's going to actually open it up like so, where you can browse and look at the content here and just kind of see a thing or two about what this document is. Up at the top right here as well, you have a nice way for some of the larger documents to browse them in more of a bigger format, like so. You can also mark items as your favorite by hitting the favorite button here, like so. You can download it to save it offline if you would like to access it. You know, if you're boarding a plane and you just want to make sure you always have access to it. If you don't have good service at home but have great service at work, when you're at work, you can download some of these items and watch them a little bit more effectively from home. So let's go ahead and close out of that and go through some of these other sections that we have here. So up here at the top, the main one here is our Share ASEA area. This is where you're going to find a lot of our major videos that we release here in our marketing department. And we will be adding to that as we get new videos. But if you click on the See All button there at the top right, this is where you're able to see a ton of the videos that we have added here. And by default, it sorts them by chronological order. So whenever I add the documents or videos to the section, you will see the latest here at the top. If you want to resort that, you have a nice little filter button up here at the top that you can click on and sort it by A to Z if you would like, to be able to see things a little bit more A to Z if that's your style. After that Share ASEA area, we have a nice Share ASEA Stories where we have some of our testimonial videos. I know our film department, our media department, is working around the clock on adding a lot more of these videos here. I know we have quite a bit here, but we are working on adding a few more. The product resource section is a good area to find our PDFs if you need to look at the nitty-gritty details of the ASEA redox ingredients and more of the detailed science. You can click on something like that. Click on the eyeball and access some of our other material like this to kind of freshen up about how to use that. I'll get into more of how to get educated on the products in our Learn section when I start talking about that here in just a few minutes. Share social media is a good area to find images that you can post on social media, such as recognition posts, images, talking about new products and things like that. We're adding new content to this on the regular basis, so stay on the lookout for that. This one here, it looks like it has a hard time with that preview image. It is a rather large image, and so I may have to adjust that and see what the story is there. So backing up here, you can resort this order here. So if you would rather see the business resource section at the top of your list, don't ignore this little filter, this little switch button up here at the top. You can then grab these little areas here, such as business resource, and you can pull it up to the top next to the product resource section if you would like. And when you do that, it will always remember how you have it sorted so that you will always keep it in order. Just last week we added the new Become magazine in here so that you can read it directly from the app if you would like. And moving along, we have a new section here, the Corporate Soul. This is Tyler Norton's podcast series that he's going to be adding content to. In addition to having the videos added to this, we're going to be working on adding a podcast section to this app to where you will have audio access to these different podcasts as Tyler posts them, because I know a lot of people have been requesting that. So right now it is a straight video format, and you can see that by clicking on one of these videos here and clicking on the play button here. To consume this content, you'll hit the play button. It's going to open it up in a nice little preview page to where you can watch this content like so. Like that. Let's go ahead and hit done here. the app training section. This is that section I was talking about during the start of my call here, and I want to show you just a handful of the items that we have here. There's a few more that I'm going to be working on this week, the main one being social media sharing and recognition sharing. I'm going to be adding that here to our app training section. I just need to add some proper red arrows and circles to help those who benefit from that. But our app training section is a pretty good resource for anybody if they want to get some quick insight about how the contacts work in the app, like so. We do a pretty good job putting this together, so definitely take some time to watch some of these different app training sections that we have here. And then down below we have our legal resource section. So that's the basics of the content. Something I didn't talk about here real fast is this little search bar up at the top. You can use the search bar to type something like science or gene, to find items in your favorites that have the word gene in it or the description. You can see there Genesis is coming up there as well. There's a handful of different items here, and when you search up at the top there, you can find these areas, these different pieces of content as we add more. So don't ever feel like you're overwhelmed with the content that we add here. We're doing our best to make sure that the content we add here into the app is only the content that you're going to be accessing on a regular basis, or content that you intend to share with others. So if there's anything in here that you feel like we need to add, please let me know. Connect@ASEAGlobal.com, and I will take some time and reviewing that with our compliance department and try to get it added for you. So another area here at the top, these little banners, these are all clickable, not to ignore that. If you click on this banner right here for Share Redox, it's going to simply search for the word Redox in the search bar and give you a nice overview of everything that has the word Redox in it. So the next section I'd like to talk about here real fast, let me double check and see if we have any questions that came in. We don't currently, but I do want to show you another area. Since we do have a handful of Europeans on this call, I want to show you guys how to change your language and market here in the app. This is really going to be relevant to you really in Europe and some of the other areas, even in the United States, honestly. Up here at the top left, you can see my little image here. If this is the first time logging into the app, you probably have your initials here. If you click on that icon, I'll do it over here on the Android device as well, you're going to be brought up with the My Profile section, and in here is where you're going to be able to adjust your info. This is where you put in your name, your email address if you want people to email you back after they watch your videos or watch your content. This is where you're going to be putting in that information. This stuff gets pulled over automatically, so if it's accurate in ASEA's database, it's going to be accurate here as well. Just pop in here and double check that. You can tap the image area right here to upload a new image. So adjusting the profile section, I think, is a really good point that I want everyone to really focus on, because when you start sharing, it adds a nice personal touch to the information and things that we're sharing. So let's get back here into the profile section here. The market and language is the one I want to touch base on here. As I click on market and language here, you can click on the market, and you can see in this login example I have 3 markets to choose from. You guys largely have 1 to choose from at the current time being. We are working on the availability of other markets being available to other markets, so that you could log in and change your market if you're trying to grow teams in other countries and markets. We do see that it is an important thing that has been requested, so we will keep pushing on that. So if we click on, we'll click on Mexico, for instance, it's going to then pull up what do you want your content in, and what that means is, do you want PDFs in English or Spanish? Do you want videos in English or Spanish? That's what that's referring to there. So we're going to choose United States again, and if we click on the content language, you can change it between the 3 possibilities, the languages that we have here in the United States. A lot of this comes from the Virtual Office library, so if it's a selectable language in the VO library, you're going to be seeing it here in the app as a selection. Down here below, the display language is where you're going to change what you want the buttons to say, what you want this header to say here at the top, all of those little areas such as terms, privacy, data, or this text here is all going to be chosen and selected by the display language. You can see we have this app translated in a lot of different languages, and so we're really excited that we have that. Like I said, this is a global app that a lot of our markets can choose, and you heard Justin just a couple of weeks ago at our Webvention that we have this app launched in 33 markets and 19 languages. So that's a big milestone for ASEA when considering last year we only had the app in United States and United States English, and I believe we also have it also in Australia as well, but we have this app now globally, which is really exciting. So a couple other areas to show you here. We'll get into the awards here as we start talking about our Learn. This next bit that I'd like to talk about here, let me review here, is going to be talking more about the contacts and how we handle contacts when we're adding contacts to our app and how they sync over to the desktop app and things like that. So down here at the bottom, you're going to see these little buttons here. This is our navigation bar. This is where you're going to find your primary means of navigation here in the app. If we click on contacts here on the Android device, you're going to see it's going to give me a nice little intro of how the contacts work, how to mark your contacts as hot and cold, and things like that. So let's hit Got It here at the top. Let's do the same thing on the iPad. Okay, hit Got It. You can see I already have a few contacts added here to the app. This is my test account. This is what I use this one for quite frequently. But here on the left on the Android device, it's asking us to sync device contacts. Now this question comes up and people wonder, which one am I going to select? Do I want to sync all of my contacts or select contacts? And what that's going to do is it's going to sync every single contact that's on your phone already. Currently on my contact list I have about 400 contacts. I don't want to necessarily sync all of those to ASEA Connect. I would rather sync them selectively, so I will choose Select Contacts. And when I do that, it's going to pull up all of my contacts here in my list, and I can go through and find people that I want to be brought into the ASEA Connect app, like so. So let's bring over just an example here. You can click on the Sync button here to bring them over to ASEA Connect, hit the X, and now that contact should be added here into my phone right there. Now, what you saw in the little tutorial is also how to mark a contact as hot or cold. So this Jane Gray that I added here, if we pull her to the right, you can see there the little icon for hot pulls up. If I pull her to the left, cold shows up. Now what that is a contact added to ASEA Connect that is hot is a contact that wants more information about ASEA, somebody who's actively engaged in the content that you're sending them, so you're going to mark them as a hot contact. If somebody is really off the grid with ASEA and you don't necessarily want to see them regularly anymore, you can mark them as a cold contact and ignore them by choosing these little categories up at the top for all, hot, or cold. So this is just kind of a way to categorize your contacts. You can see here I have 2 contacts in the cold category because these are contacts that are not reaching out to me with ASEA, so I put them in the cold category. My hot list, on the contrary, are people who are actively engaged in what I'm sending. So let's go ahead and mark Jane as a hot lead, like so. Now, a question that comes up is, when I sync contacts to my phone, how do they sync over to the desktop app? And I want to show you real fast on that. Let me get logged in here. I'll show you. This may not work because I'm logged into a different account here from ASEA, but let me just explain here on how this process works. Any contact that you add to your phone ASEA Connect app will not sync into the desktop app until you start sharing with that contact or mark them as a hot or cold lead. So for instance, Uber Jane here was added and she was not marked as a hot or cold lead, so she is not going to be added to my desktop platform until I start sharing with Jane or I mark her as a hot or cold lead, like so. So just keep that in mind as you guys are going through this and adding contacts. There is a step you have to do to sync them to the desktop app. On the contrary, if you start on the desktop platform and add contacts there, they will always sync to the ASEA Connect app. You can hide contacts by clicking on the contact and going up here to this little 3 dots here, and you have this button here to hide. This hide button will hide them from your list so that you will not see them in your list anymore, and they will be gone. So keep that in mind. If you start adding a ton of contacts and you need to get them hidden, you can hide them individually or in the settings by going to your profile, settings. You have an option to see your hidden and delete contacts area. You also have an area down here. Let me see if I can find it here of where to delete all of your contacts. I've seen it here on the desktop app, and that could be probably where it's at. Yeah, that's likely it. So if you guys use the clear cache feature here in the settings, let me show you here. This clear cache setting right here will clear out any contacts that you have not shared with. So you can use this if you accidentally sync all of your contacts and need to have kind of a fresh start. The clear cache is the way to do that. So let's get back over here and let's add a manual contact. Let's say we met a new Uber driver. You can see I've added already a couple Uber drivers here. Let's say we met a new Uber driver. We need to add them to our contact list to start sharing ASEA information with them. You have the little plus button here on the Android here and also on the iPad over here. And when you get here, you're going to be adding a contact to your phone first, and then you will sync them over to the ASEA Connect app. So let's go here on the Android and add a Uber Ray. Let's pretend like we met a Uber driver named Ray, and this is where we can put in our phone number, like so, and also put down some more fields if you need to, but for the purpose of this example, let's go ahead and save this. And we added Uber Ray into my phone. We now need to sync Uber Ray into our device contacts. So here at the top here, we have our sync button. We can click on the sync, and we can simply up here at the top search for Uber. And let's go through all my different Uber tests here, and let's find Uber Ray. We're going to sync Uber Ray over to my ASEA Connect app, which now I should be able to find him down on my list. Down here at the bottom, Uber Ray. Let's go ahead and mark him as a hot contact as well. And the same process applies here for the iPad, except when you add a manual contact, they will always show up in that list automatically without needing to sync them again. So this next step of this app, I want to show you guys a little bit about how you start sharing with yourself, because that is the first step that I'd like a lot of people to do, is do some example test shares with themselves so they understand how the process works and how this app functions as a sharing and prospecting app. So the first contact you should always add in here is going to be yourself, because that's the one that we're going to use to do some test shares to see exactly how the notifications work and all the processes and things like that. There are two ways that you can share content with a contact here in the app. You can start by the tools section, or you can start by being on the contact section as well. Both ways seem to work just fine. If you click on the contacts tab and click on your contact, you have a button here for share tools. This share tools button will then open up all of the possible things that you can share with your contact. Let's do a pull down to refresh there and see exactly all the content here that we have to share. There we go. So let's go through the process of sharing our first video. Since I'm sharing this with myself, maybe I want to see this new Renew 28 men's skin video that was released just last week. So we can click on that video by clicking on the video like I did here. And then down at the bottom, this is where you're going to find all of the areas that you're going to want to be able to share this with. You can email it to your contact, you can text it to your contact, you can post it on social media, or you can copy the link, which can be used for a group text message or things like that. In this example, we're going to send out a test text message, because that is largely the most popular way of sharing content is through text message. So let's click on the text message button here. It's going to tell us to make sure that we only send this to Derek Woodward, because this is going to have a tracking link that's going to tell me when Derek Woodward opens it, when he viewed it, and things like that. So let's hit OK here. It's going to pull up my text messaging platform here. You can see a few of the example things that I've already sent out here. Let's scroll up here to the top. And let's also add a quick intro to this. I wanted to see this new Renew 28 video. So you can add a quick introduction to your message there. Some of our videos do have their own intro, their own description to the assets, which will then auto-populate into this spot here. But you can always delete that and add your own context to the video that you're sending. So let's go ahead and send this out here. And let's wait for that reply to come in here. There it is. So now we are the prospect or the contact that is opening the content. And so I want to show you a little bit about what is going to happen here as we click on this. Hopefully here on my iPad I should see some notifications come up. There they are. That's going to show me that Derek Woodward has viewed the Renew 28 video Men's Skin. And I'm going to watch maybe about halfway into this video. And these buttons down here are also important here as well. These buttons are something we added so that if a contact is watching these videos, they can click on the Interested button to request more information. They can click on the Order button here, which will transport them right to the order page of ASEA's back office. And they can also hit the Join button there as well. So there's a handful of different ways that you can get notification here on this. Now, one of the things I did want to bring up is that step of adding your image. This is where it gets used here. So you can see you got a nice image of me there, and that is something that we will always see if you update your photo. So make that be one of your first steps there after adding yourself as a contact, to getting a nice photo there, because the content that you're sharing is going to be relevant because they're going to see your photo there. Now your contacts, they can click on these little buttons here. It's not going to work for me because this is an account that is not connected to ASEA's back office, but you can see there I still get a notification that Derek Woodward has visited your site, which is the important part of this app. So let's bounce back into ASEA Connect here on my Android device, just like so. Now, to back out of here, you remember this was a step of sharing with myself. Let's hit the cancel button here at the top, and let's go back. And now we can go back to our tools section to get to our home page here. You can share from the contact itself or by starting on the video or the content that you want to share and using these buttons here at the bottom. Now those notifications that came in, where did those get stored? They get stored here on the feed section. So if you click on the feed button here at the bottom right, you're going to get that nice quick intro like we saw here just a minute ago. I'll click on the iPad as well. So you can see here that I had sent my Renew 28 video Men's Skin to Derek Woodward, and you can see that I watched 95% of the video and I clicked the link for order. All of these different actions are all actionable by you, the associate, if you want to follow up with that contact. And each of these are all clickable here too as well. So here on my iPad, if I click on the button here for this, it will then allow me to access my contacts. It will pull up my contact for Derek Woodward. I then can go in and call or send a text message saying, hey, I noticed you watched my content. Did you have any questions about it? Things like that. Now you can call directly from here, or you can mark it as a reminder to get into it at a later date by pulling it over to the right like so. All of your reminders are also stored up here at the top, where you can then access them and click on them, call them back, or text them just like that. You can also add a custom reminder by using this alarm clock button here at the top. I've added a few before of reminding me to follow up with my prospects every Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. for instance, so that every Wednesday morning I get an alert on my app that's going to tell me to follow up with my prospects. So the feed area is a really powerful way to help following up with your contacts. What's nice about it is you can send some ASEA content to somebody on a Monday, and if they're finally getting to watch the content even on a Friday, you are going to get an alert about it via the app push notifications. And when I say push notifications, those are those little notifications that you can see there at the top of my screen there. Those are push notifications. They're not text messages, there are ways that you can get text message alerts on the desktop app. If you look for the notification section, it will talk a little bit more about how to get the text message notifications like so. So that's that area for the feed. I do want to now show you the Learn section before we start bouncing over to the Business section. So as we click on Learn, it's going to give us a nice quick intro about what Learn is. Learn is going to be a powerful way for our associates to step in and learn about ASEA products, learn about ASEA policies and procedures, compensation plans, and things like that. We don't have any quizzes for this yet, but we're going to be working on a good way to educate associates on ASEA technology and redox technology by creating our own course with our own quizzes, which then at the end of it you get nice awards that you can then brag about on your social media that you know about redox technology, for instance. So let's hit Got It here at the top, and let's look at the courses that we have here available to us. You can see here that we have two courses, ASEA Associate, and inside each one it looks like we have our ASEA Ethos and our ASEA Compensation Plan here. If we click on our Compensation Plan 1, you can see here that we have all of the different ways that you can benefit by being an ASEA Associate. If I click on Lesson 5 here, it's going to give me a nice intro about what that content is about. I can then click on the video there to watch some information about the Director Bonus. When I'm done watching that content there, let me back up here. When I'm done watching that content, I can hit the Complete Lesson button here. It will then tell me I've completed the Director Bonus. Keep up the good work. And let's hit Done. So as you start going through these different sections, it's a good way to kind of keep you engaged, to make sure your associates are getting educated about the different ways to learn in ASEA. So right now we only have 2 courses, but we will be working on adding a lot more. Like I said, product training. You can imagine that this is going to be a very, very good area to make sure that our associates are educated. So Learn is a new feature that we announced at our Webvention just a couple of weeks ago, something we're really excited and proud of to roll out. The next area I want to talk about here is our Business section. So if we click on the Business tab, you're going to see some new areas, some new stats that you probably haven't seen before if you've been using this app for a couple months. Our Business section will now have a virtual office reporting. Think of it like a virtual office snapshot about how to kind of get a quick snapshot into your business. How much PV you have, how much is your left leg or right leg. You can even go as far as looking your rank advancement and seeing kind of where you are to getting to your next level. You can also see your order history and your earnings tab there at the bottom. And below that, we have our additional services so that you can jump right into the virtual office to get logged in. This account is not connected to the virtual office, but for you guys logging into your virtual office ASEA account, you're going to see that it's going to log you directly into the back office. So there's a lot of really cool things that we've worked on with this app. We won't really have much time today to go over these social media sharing. If you guys have questions about it, I'll be definitely happy to answer it, but I want to make sure we leave this enough time for a question and answer at the end of our call here, because we have gotten a couple questions here for some people who came a little bit late, and I want to make sure we open that up. So let me look through about some of the areas that I had written down to make sure that we talk about. Okay, so that about does it here. I do want to touch base on real fast the copy link button here. If on my Android device, if I open up any of these videos here, let's go through and just click on this Danielle Matthews one here. There's an option here for copy that can be used if you're posting this link on a social media group text or a group text message on your phone. This copy link is a way for you to quickly share a PDF of video without the need to worry about did they open it, did they watch it, did they go through the content. Copy link can be used for that feature right there. So definitely test that out, share it with some family just so you understand exactly how it works, and you guys should understand that. But it's a nice way to kind of quickly get the word out. The other area I do want to touch base on before we open this up to our Q&A is our shareable ASEA websites. You can see just last week we added a new one here for our new Renew 28 relaunch that we added here. Let me open this up here on the iPad and show you what this looks like. If you click on this area right here, it should open up the Renew 28 web page here. There it is. So all of these different shareable ASEA websites, you can share these with others and get instant notification when they access those websites and get some more information. So we've already added probably, what, 8 or 9, 10 websites in here. And so we're going to be adding a few others here to kind of beeline some of your contacts directly to a resource that you want them to access. So be on the lookout for some of those added there. We also have this third option here for your ASEA page. This is for your replicated site. If you wanted to share some information or say, hey, if you have any more information, here's my replicated site, you can then send this link directly to them so that they can get right to your page and you can get credit for any purchases or ordering that gets done right from there. So the shareable websites is a good area to pay attention to. So now at this point here, I would like to open this up to any questions that you guys have after what I've kind of discussed here today as we've gone through this here. Let me go ahead and start unmuting a few of you guys here. All right. So the first question that I got here on the call was, are these calls recorded and where can I find them on Facebook? So that's a good question. In my slide there, you did see an option in there for Facebook, and let me show you real fast of where you can find those. So on Facebook, if you search for ASEA Business Coach, or excuse me, I believe it's now ASEA Connect. If you search for ASEA Connect on Facebook, you're going to find a page that looks just like this for ASEA Connect. If you click on that there, this is where you're going to find a lot of our different trainings that we post on here. Facebook's platform isn't as easy as posting it to YouTube and putting them on our landing page like I showed you at the start of our call, but it's still a good resource for you to pop in, download our FAQ, and to watch the content here. So we will continue to keep posting on there because you see we get a lot of people reacting and reaching to this. We also have people sharing this with other associates who may not be part of the call here today. So Facebook is still a really good resource to find them, so that we do post them on Facebook there as well. It just takes it maybe a couple days after we host our calls and you can see them there. So does anybody have any other questions about the functionality of the app or anything that they'd like me to discuss or talk about? Okay, someone did ask here in the questions about social media sharing here. And so let me take some time and do that. That's for a Brad here in the chat. So here, if I scroll up here and show you real fast on the Share Social Media section, if we click on the See All button here, you can see all of our different content that we have here. So we have these recognition badges here. This is a good example just to show you real fast on how the social media aspect works. Let's click on this badge here. And you have a button here for social. Now, as we click on this social button here, it's going to give me a quick introduction about how social sharing works. It's going to say, write a unique message. We'll show you an example to give you ideas. Copy your message and paste it into your post. If you share an image with a link, we'll copy it automatically and help you paste it with your post. So let me walk you through the process here. So this is the step of writing a unique message. Now we can click on this Use Example Message button here, which will then pull up this text and say, congrats on achieving Platinum Executive. You can then add kind of a unique flair to this, and what I mean by unique is if you were to try and copy this and post this on Facebook, it would not allow you to post it because it is not a unique message. Facebook is very particular on having it be a unique message so that they can flag it properly as spam. So it does need to be a unique message. So let's change this just a little bit. I am proud of you. Something like that. You can do whatever you would like there. Now when we hit the copy button, it's going to allow me to move on to the next step. Up at the top, your message has been copied to your clipboard so you can paste it. This next area here is where you're going to go through and find your social media platform that you would like to share this to. In this example, I'm going to use Facebook, but you can see this app will accept any other social media platforms. Facebook, WeChat, Instagram's also in there. If you don't see yours listed, there's a little button here for more, which you can find some of the other options to share with here. Let's find Facebook here. Now you can see there it brought the image over, but now up here at the top where my cursor is flashing, this is where I need to take the step and paste in my my message here. On iPad devices or iOS devices, there's a little paste button here. I can just click on that there, and it will paste it. Congrats on achieving Platinum Executive. I'm proud of you. And we can then post that on Facebook by hitting the next button here, and I can choose who I want to post it to, my news feed, my friends, a different Facebook group, and so on there. So let's just hit share. Share to Facebook. So just like that, that's a quick example of how to do a social share. And like I said, we are going to be working on a specialized app training section for social media specifically, where I want to show you how to post on Facebook, how to add to your Instagram story. I know that's been requested by a few of our newer associates there. There's going to be a lot of really cool things that we can do with this app, and I'm going to take a good 20-30 minutes to talk about it in one of our new app training sections specifically focused on social media. So really looking forward to that, and I hope you will too. Does anybody have any other questions that they'd like me to talk about? If so, you're free to unmute, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you guys have with the app. Okay, if not, we're going to go ahead and get this guy posted up on our different channels. Like I said, you can find them on our training page for ASEAConnect.me/training. And if you guys have any questions, you can find these trainings here and consume them, suck them in. There's a lot of content here to be had. One thing nice about our training calls here, if you click on this little button here, it's going to transport you right to YouTube, which you will then be able to bump into these little sections or chapters of our app training, which will be able to have you consume the content a little bit faster and learn more about social sharing, or learn, and some of these other areas here. So it was good talking with everyone, and I hope you guys have yourself an excellent Tuesday afternoon. If you guys need to reach me for whatever reason, you can find me at connect@aseaglobal.com, and I can answer all of your questions. And hope everyone's doing well, being safe, and if you guys need me, there's my information. Have yourself a good one, guys. Thank you.